CSP, as you said, is an initiative through the Ministry of National Security. And we started to implement the project in 2008, focusing on 22 very specific partner communities to pilot this sort of community-driven intervention. All right, we have three main components. The first one is community action. The second one is a partnership working with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And the third one is to build the capacity within the ministry itself in terms of how it collects and analyzes data so that policy can be derived from evidence-based. Okay?
How important is that last component?
Very, very important, because the first thing you need to know is what the issues are, So data collection and data analysis is key, because in order to develop proper policy and so forth, as I mentioned prior, you need to know where the problems exist, and I could give you some basic analogies here. We look at situations, let's say, of illiteracy, and we say illiteracy causes crime, right? But illiteracy can be viewed in many cases as a symptom, more so than the actual root problem. Because if we have teenagers and adults, young adults, who can go to a literacy program, Moms for Literacy, ALTA, and learn to read without any hindrance, it means that they necessarily don't have any cognitive barriers, no mental barriers to learning. When you go back a little deeper and you interview these people, you get to realize that childhood, 5, 6, 7, when they should be learning to read in school and so forth, that they would have encountered many challenges. Some of them could be family-based violence, domestic violence, just a lack of proper guidance, neglect, these sort of things. So we have to go right back to that age and that scenario and see how we can put things in place to support more nurturing and positive parenting, right? Another aspect of it, when you look at it broadly, you say to yourself, a lot of people say, well, the youths need work, we need work, more work. But when you look at the Trinidadian landscape, employers can't find and they can't keep employees. So we realize, okay, employment is not the issue, it's employability. So instead of having programs that are heavy on the actual skill development, the programs need to have, let's say, a stronger lean on life and social skills development, so that once a person gets a job, because if you walk outside now and walk down Marval Road, I'm sure you'll see help wanted, hiring now, these sort of things. Okay, so employment is not the issue, it's employability. So when you have the data and you analyze the data, you get to recognize you get a clearer picture of where the possible issues can be, and you can, as we say, hit the nail on the head.
I love the fact that you talk about that shift in focus, because many times you hear about illiteracy as the cause as opposed to a symptom. So looking at it from that way. But in terms of collecting that data and having that data influence policy, what are some of the things that you would like to see change on a policy kind of scale?
Well, most definitely, because of the work that we've been doing within the communities, particularly in terms of transferring skills and knowledge that will deal directly with the risk factors that propagate criminogenic behavior, I would like to see a stronger focus on the life skills and the social skills, and a stronger emphasis on partnering with communities in a way that will, empower them to treat with the issues that they experience on a day-to-day basis. And I'm talking about the family history of violence, very key, okay? Poverty in and of itself has its own challenges, but there are many poor families that are supportive and nurturing of their children and have a network of support where their children thrive, right? And can be successful. We have many cases of that. And on the flip side of that, you can have a family that is middle class, where there is domestic violence, where the family is not functioning as a cohesive unit, where the child could be experiencing a lot of issues, okay? So it's all about really and truly getting the community, empowering them so that they can function at a healthier level. The CSP over the years, we have done training and continue to do training in those core areas: mediation, conflict management. We just graduated about 75 individuals from various communities throughout Trinidad in mediation and conflict resolution skills. And about half of them, more than half of them, about 50, we're hoping to be certified by the Mediation Board of Trinidad and Tobago. These persons under obligation voluntarily, but they signed on prior to doing the course to use their skills over the next 12 months within their communities. And our feedback thus far has been that even when they were doing the training, at the graduation, I spoke to many of them, and they were like, boy, the skills that they've learned, they've already been employing it within their family, with close friends, even at work and these sort of things. So the thing is, it's one thing to constantly be identifying what the issues are. You know, Trinidadians and Tobagonians, we have a way we can identify problems, right? We're always pointing fingers, we could always identify problems. But it's time for us now to focus on the solutions. And I think that that is what this government, they talk of a whole government approach, which I think is necessary, especially in this current economic time where we have to have a lot more collaboration amongst ministries, where education and social development, community development, Ministry of National Security, Ministry of Health, which is very, very key in this entire thing, are all working together and not necessarily duplicating effort, right? But working in tandem so that the limited resources that the country has can be used, can be maximized, you know, to really benefit the population. So it's all about investing, you know, in our people, but particularly within our communities and those that we would consider high needs communities, high risk hotspots, you name it. These are the communities where we need to continue to really put some focus on and to build, as I said, the capacity of residents themselves to address the issues, parenting issues, with their youth and children, how to work with them. And we continue to work with those NGOs and CBOs, community-based organizations on the ground, and faith-based organizations that are within these communities and have as part of their mandate to really work with their constituents to build and create a better Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, you speak of maximizing resources and you also speak of engaging people who are, excuse me, already on the ground. What's the significance of that, of having people who know what the problems are or know what some of the symptoms are and already trying to address them, and having that combination and that kind of place where people, where the resources that are you're coordinating can actually meet those people who are already lending and strength and energy to it already?
Well, I think that is key because what you find mostly is that the persons already involved, especially at a community level, they're not doing it for the glory. They're not doing it for the money. They have a passion to help people and they want to build their community. You remember, every community in Trinidad and Tobago, no matter where it is, Sealots, Beetham, and we talk about these communities sometimes in a very derogatory way, but the people that live in these communities are people who want the very best for their children and they want the very best for themselves. Their current circumstances may dictate that they have challenges, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they want the best for themselves and for their children. So what we have to do is we have to continue to partner with these communities and these residents, and as I said, share knowledge and skills that would help them to better cope with their situation and to better handle the rigors, and I say rigors because I'm a parent myself of 3, of parenting, of maintaining relationships, particularly within the family and these sort of things, because a healthy family, healthy child, healthy community, healthy family. Healthy nation, healthy community, healthy family. It's an inverse relationship, if you understand what I'm saying. Because it's society, community, family, individual, but also individual, family, community. So we have to continue to work and invest in our people. Ministry of Education, I mean, continues to do a tremendous amount of work with all the challenges. I mean, we still have 95% or more of our children interfacing in the education system, which is excellent if you look globally. And you know, we have social development, community development. I mean, there's just a need for us to really look at what is required in a very real sense, right? And work towards, you know, putting systems in place to get community more involved and to get persons more involved in the process. Over the years, we have definitely seen where many of the communities we partnered with, they have transformed themselves. We have some statistics here. Since 2008 until now, we've seen homicides reduced by 55% in the original 22 communities we started to work in throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
What determines how partner communities are chosen though?
Well, in the first instance, you know, we looked at the variants, the types of crime, serious crime, and the frequency, you know, and we also looked at Ministry of Education. We got data from schools regarding to primary school SEA scores and these sort of things to see, you know, which schools were underachieving and if there's a correlation between that underachievement and criminogenic behavior in their communities. We looked at whether they were community-based organization, faith-based organization, and other organizations working in the communities too. We looked at the physical assets. Were they schools? Were they community centers? Were they, because we didn't want to go into communities necessarily that really and truly had nothing. We wanted to see if we could go into communities that were struggling, but where they had some ingredients that we could add to and to assist them to you know, get themselves together and flourish.